Hey, what's going on, everybody? So Apple has just released iOS 15.4 and iPadOS 15.4 to the public finally. This is a massive update, so sit back and relax. We have a lot of stuff to cover here. So first off, in case you're curious, this update came in at a little bit over a gig on the iPhone 13 Pro and almost a gig on the iPad 7th generation. So let's go ahead and talk about the changes here. So first off, you now have the ability to use Face ID while you are wearing a mask on your iPhone 12 and newer. So also, this is going to include if you use things like Apple Pay or autofill your passwords with Face ID. So if you're still wearing a mask, you can now use your Face ID with that. You actually have to go into your settings and actually set up another separate mask one here. So let's go take a look at that. So you can see when you look in here now, you have the option that says Face ID with a mask. So if you turn that on, you have to do a whole nother kind of appearance to get it to actually, recognize you that way. But yeah, you can now use that with a mask. If you like emojis, well, we now have over 37 new emojis here in 15.4. I'm not sure exactly which ones they are. I mean, I'm noticing a few here and there. That's interesting. That looks like a new one right there. Like some hard hands. Maybe that's a new one. So yeah, there's just a whole lot of new different emojis that they've added here in iOS 15.4. I'm just kind of scrolling through because I actually haven't looked at them yet. But yeah, it's always kind of hard to find them. But yeah, there's a lot of new ones here. Everybody loves a new emoji, so definitely can go exploring and see if you can find them all. We go into our Siri voice settings. We notice that we now have voice number 5 here.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Definitely interesting sounding, but yeah, we're going to stick with traditional.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Also, Siri now has the ability to tell you date and time information on an iPhone XS or newer when it's offline. So to just show you that, we can go ahead, throw her into airplane mode, and then we can ask Siri what time it is. What time is it? You can see it's 8:46 p.m. What's today's date? It's March 15th, 2022. So yeah, pretty cool there. You can now ask her that stuff if you need to. But yeah, new voice and the ability to do that. If you're in the EU and you store your vaccine card in your Apple Wallet, well, it now is going to support the EU digital COVID certificate. So you can now store that in your wallet if you want. Speaking of Apple Wallet, there's a brand new Apple Card wallet widget. So you can now quickly see your Apple Card balance and your spending activity. So there's a little preview of what it would look like for you. So you can see your card balance, your available credit, and then your different color codes for spending on all the days of the week. So yeah, you can now have that widget to quickly be able to see that stuff without going into the wallet app. Let's talk about a few enhancements here for your phone. So first off, if you're going to use translation in Safari, you can now do Italian or traditional Chinese. Also in the podcast application, you can now filter podcast by seasons. So that's kind of cool. If you use the iCloud email domains, the custom ones, they can now be managed in your settings. In the Apple News app, you will find enhanced discovery for the Apple News Plus audio, so you can find new stuff there in the audio tab much easier. The camera in your keyboard can now be used to add text to notes and reminders. So if we go into our reminders, for example, we hit new reminder, you can see you can go to camera, you can now scan text and all that stuff. So makes it a little quicker to create a reminder or a note that way. Speaking of reminders, the Shortcuts app now supports the ability to add, remove, or query tags with reminders. So that's definitely going to be a helpful little feature. If you use the emergency SOS feature, call to hold is now the default instead of call with 5 presses. If you have a iPhone 13 Pro or Pro Max, you can now use the close-up camera here, which is basically your ultra-wide, to see up close on objects, so you can really get in there with that on your iPhone 13 Pro. And then also, if you use the passwords feature, Apple's keychain and all that stuff, if you save your passwords, you can now add notes to them. So maybe like a hint or a little reminder or something about that password. In the App Store now, we have a new notifications section. So this is going to allow Apple to basically let you know about new features and updates, as also different recommendations and offers. So if you don't want to be bugged, you better turn that off right now. You can choose how you want your up next display to look in your Apple TV app. So you can choose either still frame or poster art. So you can now pick that however you would like. Apparently Apple has enhanced the ProMotion. So if you have, a latest device with ProMotion like the iPhone 13, you may notice that it's a little bit smoother at times, although it's extremely hard to tell for me that there's any difference. But also they've made it a little bit easier for developers to implement this technology into their apps. So making it a little more accessible there. SharePlay can now be initiated from directly supported applications. So for example, if you were going to share a workout on Apple Fitness Plus, you could go into there and actually start the SharePlay straight from there instead of having to go and set up a FaceTime call. Also, the SharePlay icons look a little bit different. They're more in line and they're more green, so pretty nice there. If you are using Apple's AirTags, you've probably seen in the news lately that some people have been using those things irresponsibly, including ways to commit crime by tracking people and then end up stealing their items. So from now on, whenever you set up new AirTags, you'll get a little more in-depth kind of warning and reading about how to properly use them and how not to use them. Apple also clearly lets you know that this is attached to your Apple ID, and basically that if somebody requests information, they will give it to the authorities and they are able to locate you and all that kind of stuff as well. So basically they're definitely trying to stop people from using these the wrong way. Also, you'll now get notifications about other people's devices that are with you. So for example, if somebody left AirPods or you took AirPods or something like that, it will tell you, hey, these AirPods have been detected traveling with you, and the owner can see its location. So not just AirTags, but things like AirPods that can be tracked or other devices. In case people thought they were getting clever, you'll now get notifications letting you know that, hey, those things are with you. If you use these things right here, your AirPods, you'll now notice if you open them up next to your device that, yeah, you still get the same little screen that pops up, but it's much more detailed. You have kind of a new looking design for your AirPods in your case. You also have a new font up top for the name of your AirPods. So kind of just a cleaner, better look there. So if you use AirPods, you'll notice that change. Now before we move to iPad, let's talk about some bug fixes here for iOS. So the first thing is your keyboard may insert a period between typed numbers. That's weird, but it should be fixed now. News widget in Today View may not open articles when they are tapped on. Your photos and videos may not sync to your iCloud library. I was kind of having that issue, so I'm glad that's fixed. Your speak screen accessibility feature may quit unexpectedly in the Books application. And then finally, your live listen may not turn off when switched off in Control Center. So yeah, those are the bug fixes here. But let's go ahead and just quickly talk about the iPad stuff real quick here. So obviously the main thing here with iPad is the introduction of universal control. Now, this is still in beta, but it is available to everybody now, so you can try it out for yourself. So to enable this is what you have to do. First things first, you need to make sure you have a supported device. So pretty much anything 2016 and newer will work with SharePlay, which is pretty nice. But you just want to go to your general settings. You want to go to AirPlay and Handoff. And when you go here, you'll notice this new option. It says Cursor and Keyboard Beta. It says allow your cursor and keyboard to be used on any nearby Mac signed into your iCloud account. So it actually doesn't call it universal control on the iPad, which I think is interesting. But by default on your iPad, this should be on. Now you also have to enable this on your Mac. So let me show you that real quick. Now I'll go over this more in depth when I do my Monterey video, but you can see that if you go into your system preferences and you go into displays, you now have a new look here for your display. So it actually kind of shows you a really cool look here, you know, your keyboard and your mouse and all that. So this is my current monitor setup. I have the MacBook Air. I actually have a ultra wide display above that. So that is my current setup there. But yeah, on your Mac, what you want to do is right here, it says universal control, and you have three options. So the first one says allow your cursor and keyboard to move between any nearby Mac or iPad. And then your second one says push through the edge of the display to connect to a nearby Mac or iPad. And then the third one says automatically reconnect to any nearby Mac or iPad. So by default, those are actually all turned off on your Mac. So you have to go in and turn those on. And once you do that, you need to then turn on the iPad. So you can't just have it off like this and then appear onto it. You have to actually go in, unlock it. And since I have that setting to where it automatically connects to it, you notice that it just did that for me. Now you can rearrange your displays just like you would any normal display configuration right there. If you have an awkward kind of setting like I do, like that's an ultra wide monitor, so I think that's why it's a little awkward. Really, I would like to be able to put this one down here, but it's no big deal. So this is how this basically works. You go up to your other display. I know it's really hard to see this, I'm on a GoPro, but basically we're going to go to the right and we're going to push through the display. So we're actually pushed through now, and we can go back towards the iPad and see that my cursor is moving around now on the iPad. So that's pretty cool. I know this is really hard to see. I apologize for that, but yeah, then we can go back and you can see my cursor is now up there, and then we can go back down there. So I have a little bit of an awkward, kind of way to do it, but it's fine. And yeah, so now we can kind of just click around on the iPad, which is really cool. We can go into settings, there we go. And also, you can use your Mac's gestures. So, 4 fingers up to kind of close an app. You can do that with multitasking. You can see I'm bringing up multitasking by doing it that way, which is pretty cool. And then you can, of course, drag and drop content between your devices. So if I had a file on my iPad I wanted to share with my Mac, all I would have to do is just drag it right over, and then vice versa. So yeah, this is a pretty cool way to kind of see, set up things like that. I haven't played around with it too much, and also, again, it's still in beta. And then you're probably wondering, well, what about Sidecar? Is this eliminating Sidecar? Well, the simple answer to that is no, because Sidecar still exists. I can show you guys right here. You can add a display, and you can click right there, mirror or extend to my iPad. So yeah, Sidecar still exists, and from what I've seen, it looks like you are able to actually use Sidecar and universal control at the same time, which is pretty cool. So really the possibilities are endless. with this stuff. You just have to kind of figure out what works best for you. But yeah, that's universal control. It's really cool how it's just seamless and there's no setup or anything like that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing around with that a lot. Next thing here to do with your iPad is the fixed volume controls. This is interesting. You can now go into your sounds, you can scroll down, you can see fixed position volume controls. So it says when enabled, the volume up and down will remain in a fixed position. When off, the buttons will dynamically change depending on the orientation of your iPad. So you can now adjust that right there. And then the only other thing with the iPad that I found interesting that's not the same as the phone is it actually says security recommendations can now be hidden. I don't know what that means, but you can now hide those things apparently. Something else that I didn't mention with iOS that I guess I should go ahead and mention is there is a new wallpaper because we got the new green phones coming out here very, very soon. It's actually a live wallpaper, so you can go in, you can see there it is, new green. This one up here was already there, but this is a new one. So if you are the kind of person who likes to match your wallpaper with your phone, well, there you go. And that's only available on the newer Pro phones, I believe. Also, your updates, your iOS updates, or iPadOS if you have a cellular iPad, you can now update over cellular. So if you don't mind using a whole lot of data to do it, well, you can now do that. And then last but not least, something that you always need to take a look at is the security updates. So Apple has a ton of these this time around. So we can go ahead and just kind of quickly glance at those here. Apple always publishes everything that they fixed. So I'm just going to scroll through to give you an idea of how many of these there actually are. There's quite a few this time. I mean, there is quite a few security updates. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for you today. Like I said, this is a ton of stuff here in 15.4 and iPadOS 15.4. Let me know what you guys think about it. It's a big update. I highly recommend it. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching the channel as always, and I will catch you all in the next video.